Yes, good morning. I appreciate both you brothers, and you make my day and week with your show. I had basically two questions, and they're kind of related. The first question is, in terms of the white people that don't contribute to white supremacy, which are the white people that are not supposedly racist. If they're benefiting from the system and they know what's going on, does that make them participants in the system, or are they just innocent bystanders? That's one. The
Okay, wait a
second
minute. Let,
question.
let, let, let Mr.
Okay.
Fuller answer that one first. Go ahead, Mr. Fuller.
Okay.
Excellent question. The code position, this is rock solid. If a white person on this planet is able to be a white supremacist, he or she probably is one. Underline the word able.
Mm-hmm.
And see, that excludes newborn babies and people like that, and also it even excludes people who used to stand up and say, I'm a white supremacist, I believe in white supremacy, I believe that we should dominate these dark-skinned people because they are nothing but animals anyway. I mean, and I think we are ordained, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But that same white person, as he or she gets older, winds up in a wheelchair, not being able to tell one color from another. Now, once you're not able to tell one color from another, you are no longer able to be a white supremacist. Because to be a white supremacist, you have to know your colors. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So, you exempt them. But everybody else is a what? Not a white supremacist. Because if you say that, you're going to have to prove it, and you're going to have to prove it by the white supremacists themselves. No one can prove the existence of white supremacy except the white supremacists themselves. Why? That's why they're white supremacists, with the emphasis on supreme. But you can say you what? You suspect that he or she could be one. See what I mean? You never call a white person a white supremacist under any circumstance unless he or she says that he or she is one.
Okay.
And then you can say it. Well, he just said he's one, so so I can say that he's one since he said he's one. But if he says he's not one, I'm not going to say that he's one. But I will say I suspect he could be one.
Okay.
Why? Because we're in a white supremacist system. There's no other system in the world except that.
Okay. What is your second question, sir?
The second question is related to that one. Okay, so it's almost seemed like, we're looking at the 9 areas of activity, and you see a white person who you suspect of being a white supremacist. You don't get to see, usually you don't get to see every aspect of a person's life or their opinions on that. So that almost leads me to believe, is that coded way of just saying that a white person will always, no matter what happens, they might do something in this area, that area, but since you can't see the other areas, you cannot eliminate them from being a suspect. Is that a coded way of looking at it so that you're always on your guard, that even if a white person do some good things, they still in some other areas could be a white supremacist, therefore being a white supremacist period.
Okay, Mr.
Absolutely. You got it. You got it. You can always say, in a friendly way. You should say it in a friendly way. If somebody you work with and whatnot, and the person says, you talk about this racism, and this is a white person talking to a black person on a job, and which can happen any day, and probably is happening right now, even if we're talking. And the white person just turns to the black person and say, do you think that Willie, do you think that I'm a white supremacist? And Willie's codified response is supposed to be, well, most likely you could be one. Yeah, I suspect that you are. And if Brian or whatever his name is, or in the case if it's male, or if it's female to female and whatnot, well, Helen, I didn't think that you thought that of me. This is a white lady talking to a black lady. In the office and whatnot. You've been thinking that I could be a white supremacist all this time? Say, well, you could be one. Mary, you could be one.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a master list of who is or isn't one. And the white supremacists are very skilled at hiding their supremacy, at hiding who they are, of hiding how they think.
Mm-hmm.
They are extremely skilled. I didn't make it that way. That's just the way it is,
just
Mary.
The way it is. All righty.
So I have to suspect that somebody's got to be one because the whole world is dominated by the people who are white supremacists, and I'm a victim of it.
All right.
And so someone who is white has to be a white supremacist, but I don't know who they are. So if you're able to find out who they are, you tell me. You know.
All righty. Thank you, caller.